Welcome to the 49 Yard Dash Podcast, the podcast on your San Francisco 49ers, hosted by myself and, of course, joined by my co-host and friend Josh LaFont. We got a lot to review. This is our mock draft episode, and we just had the Super Bowl too. This is going to be a really good one. We've been looking forward to it. But first, before we jump into all that, Josh, how you doing, my man?
I heard a good tip of advice, man. I figured I'd pass it on. Anything can become a DUI checkpoint if you crash your car into it. So figured that would be a wise saying passed along from the old noggin to yours. Know all our fans out there.
Hey, man, we appreciate that. That's
Welcome, man. Noted, man.
Well, I guess we can briefly mention, last week we previewed the Super Bowl and made predictions and all that. Just want to say I went 2 for 2. Rams won and Cooper Kupp won MVP. Just saying, No, I actually, if I had a vote, I would have voted Aaron Donald for MVP personally. I still can't believe that they cast the vote 2 minutes before the game ends. I can't believe that they still do that.
No, it's like in college when they cast the Heisman like in week 8.
Yeah.
Like when Lamar Jackson won the Heisman, he had went off for like the whole season, and then he choked down the stretch. And Deshaun Watson had an amazing season, and Deshaun should have gotten it because he was a better quarterback. But Lamar had already received all the first place votes like week 6 or 7. It's like, what are we doing here, man?
It's wild.
Aaron Donald, by evidence, as you're saying, didn't do anything that game until the last 2 plays of the game. And on those 2 plays alone, as I told you, he should have won MVP on him.
Yeah.
The dude literally stops a guy with forward progress and Samaje Perine with one arm and doesn't just stop him or slow him down. He one hands that mug and pulls him back a yard from forward progress. And Samaje Perine is the power back in that offense. He's like 220.
I was going to say he's 220, 230. Yeah.
Yeah. And for him to do that, and then just the way of course, the Rams had good coverage on that play. The ultimate 4th down play where Burrow got flustered, but Donald disrupted the offensive line. So, on those 2 plays alone, you give him the MVP.
Yeah,
of course, Cooper Kupp having 2 touchdowns, that's not a bad consolation prize, but Aaron Donald, man, he really stepped up there in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, he did, definitely. And I think the Bengals will be a perennial playoff team for a long time. You think that team, and if they can actually make improvements on the offensive line too, they should be around for a long time. And Burrow's a stud as long as they don't make him the next Luck.
Yeah, I know, but man, it's easy to say that. We've talked about dynasties over the years when Aaron Rodgers won his in 12, I guess it was, or 11, 12 against the
10.
Steelers. Yeah, 10. So that 10-11 season when he won against the Steelers there, everyone's like, okay, Aaron Rodgers about to go on a dynasty run, or he's gonna be up there with Brady and Roethlisberger and Manning, and which were your top quarterbacks at the time. He's already surpassed Philip Rivers or whatever. Immediately one Super Bowl, never wins another one, never makes it to another one. Mahomes dynasty. It's so hard, man, especially when you look at that AFC North. Browns are no doubt going to be healthier next year. Steelers are going to improve quarterback, whether they go for the home run and Russell Wilson or make a play for Deshaun Watson if stuff goes up to him, or they make a play for Jimmy G, draft a kid. Anything's going to be better, really, than what Ben Roethlisberger was this year. And then the Ravens, too. They were marred by injuries all year.
Them and the Browns
with Tyler Huntley
were the 2 most injured teams this year, and the Titans. But yeah.
Well, and you just add, like I said, you just add competent quarterback play. So we're not going to have a statue in the pocket that can only throw the ball 5 yards down the field, like literally worse than Drew Brees at the end of his career. So I would love to say that just because Joe Burrow is so good, but man, it's so tough to get back there.
Oh yeah,
So tough. Everything has to go right.
Yeah, definitely. So I don't think it's not going to be easy to get to another Super Bowl, but I do think I personally think they're probably the team of the AFC North, but it's not going to be easy. And they're not going to win it. They're not going to dominate that division. Nobody will.
You're going to see the same thing you saw this year. And I don't even know if I'm on par with you on that. I guess that's where we disagree. You're going to see what you saw this year for the next 10, 15 years until Ukraine and Russia start World War III and we're all dead. That division is going to have a division winner with 10 wins, a playoff contender, a wild card team with 9, and then two more 6-7 win teams
Oh,
that
I
just
do
beat up
agree
on
with
each
that.
other.
That's-
And whichever team stays healthy, that's the team that's going to make the playoffs. And that's what
Yeah.
sucks for Burrow is it's like it's just a gauntlet, man. You're playing those
Yes.
guys 8 times a year, or not 8 times. You're playing them 6 times a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's a third of your schedule.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you know, you go 500 in that, man, that sucks. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
Congrats to Burrow for getting there. And
Yeah.
sucks to say, but congrats to the Rams for pulling it out. And whether McVay and Donald retire on this or not, they sure as heck have enough merit and enough cred to do so if they want to, in my mind.
Yeah, no, Aaron Donald's the best defensive player I've ever watched. And I've been a fan of his for a long time. So yeah, congrats to them. But let's move on to the important part, our mock draft, man.
We ready.
So we have this figured out where Josh is going to control all the AFC teams, and he's basically going to be the general manager of every AFC team and their pick and their position. I'm going to do the same with all the NFC teams. And just to make sure anyone listening is aware, this is not what we think will happen. This is not predictions of what we think will happen. This is what we would do if we were the general manager of each and every one of these teams. So this is just us making these picks, what we think.
We were drafting a Madden team.
Yeah, pretty much.
Were in a Madden simulation, and we're building a team. Who do we want on these teams?
Yeah, that's right. And with some fit, too, of course, with the teams.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, I'll have plenty of that. But again, just not a prediction what we think will happen, because I think a lot of teams will do things that I wouldn't do. But
well, and we'll just say this, spoiler alert, the Giants will not draft a position of need. The Cowboys will take a skill player, and the Packers are definitely trading up to land Matt Corral. So stay tuned, folks. We're ready to dive into it.
Man, I can't
crashing that car into a DUI checkpoint. Let's do it.
All right, let's do this. So here we go. On the left side here, we have all of our teams and everything. And on the right side, this is not my big board. This is Pro Football Focus's big board. I strongly disagree with a lot of this stuff, but we just needed names slapped onto a sheet. So I used Pro Football Focus's, and I got their top 75 names. So just disclaimer, these are not my rankings because I have a lot of complaints with this. So
but we will say there is a few I don't even think we would have inside our top 75, but the majority of them are there. They're just probably a little misranked in our mind. But.
Exactly. Well, all right. As mentioned, and I should have labeled these AFC or NFC, but we can remember that. Josh is controlling the AFC, so therefore he has the first overall pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars, so he is on the clock.
Man, we should have done some on the clock music. But on the clock, the Jacksonville Jaguars, I know it, man. It's all good. We are on the clock. Let's go, man. Doug Peterson starting this off. And you think about the Jaguars' positions of need. Every position is a position of need, including quarterback, unless Trevor Lawrence shaves his hair anytime soon and decides to man up and hang in the pocket. But this is a controversial pick. There's been a lot of talk about Evan Neal being number 1 overall. I don't personally like that fit. In my mind, there's 3 players that stand above this draft as far as potential and franchise cornerstones. And those are Aiden Hutchinson, Kyle Hamilton, and our boy Ikem Ekwonu. I think those were the 3 I came down to. And in my mind, this is the best player in the draft. This guy has the most potential. Kyle Hamilton, number 1 overall to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
All righty.
I do it all safety who can come down in the box. And I tell you what, man, this guy right here, man, he's a difference maker, man. I can't do my Todd voice, but Kyle Hamilton, number 1 overall, really can play corner in a pinch, can play nickel, can play linebacker, cover safety. You build your defense around this guy.
Kyle Hamilton, safety, Notre Dame. Yep, Josh did in fact shock me with the first pick, so that is cool.
Who did you think I was going to take? I'm just curious.
I thought it would be either Aiden or Neal. Yeah.
Yeah, you've changed my mind on ICAM, so I'm curious to see who you go with it too.
Yeah. Let's see. This is my only top 4 pick. Detroit Lions. I think this is a match made in heaven. He just fits.
Yeah,
Michigan guy. There's nothing else to do here. I'm going Aiden Hutchinson.
Aiden spelled with an A, by the way, you idiot.
What do you say?
But we're gonna get a little. Aiden spelled with an A. We don't need another San Francisco controversy.
What do you mean? Do I not have an A here?
AIDAN, not an E.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I spelled it wrong over here too, then.
No, you're good, man. You're good. Well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
San Francisco follows us once again.
That's right.
All right. With my 3rd pick in the draft, this is pretty much a no-brainer for me. You picked. We've got 2 of my top 3 off the board. I did for a while. You know, you and I debated who was the best offensive tackle in this draft. They've got Charles Cross listed at 6. In my mind, he's the 3rd best tackle in this draft.
Oh,
I went back and forth on Ikem and Evan Neal. Of course, all 3 are excellent. They show awesome potential. But the Houston Texans need to stop taking flyers on guys in the 1st round. They need franchise pieces here. And if Aiden was on the board, that's who I would take. Kayvon Thibodeau and Evan Neal show awesome potential, but they're not cornerstone guys. So I'm going to Ikem Ekwonu, offensive tackle, North Carolina State. Give you a cornerstone piece on the line. You can build around Davis Mills, or Deshaun Watson comes back, or you go in a different direction. That's a cornerstone piece on your line at the position.
I don't blame you at all. I love. There's a reason why his nickname is Icky Ekwonu. Dude is nasty, especially in the run game. So I don't blame you, man. He's my favorite player in the draft.
if he never develops another ounce, he's going to be a starter in this league, or at least borderline.
Absolutely.
And that's something. If that's on the board in a rebuilding team with his potential, you take it. Don't think twice.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you at all. And the fact that he's 13th on PFF's big board really triggers me. I think he's easily top 5, but that's just me.
So my next deal here with the Jets, man, there's a lot of directions to go in. This was the one I struggled with the most, as far as taking a guaranteed guy, like a Carl Loftus, even over Thibodeau, or Charles Cross. But the Jets right now are built so much around boomer bust with Zach Wilson, with that gunslinger guy. I think you've got to just keep that mentality going. So we'll take a reach here, try to give him some protection. We'll go Evan Neal, offensive tackle, Alabama. Though I probably have Charles Cross over him, I like the fit a little bit more with the Jets. Given that timeline with Wilson, given that timeline with the rest of the team, they're younger. You take a flyer on that guy with potential to be one of the best players in the draft.
Definitely. So he's got probably the highest ceiling of all the tackles, I would say. It's just he's got some sloppy mechanic stuff that he has to work on.
Yeah.
I was not expecting this top 4 quite. I thought the Giants would have one of the top 2 tackles available.
But they get screwed again.
Yeah, that's right. They definitely need offensive line help, but I'm not going to pass up on – I'm going to take Kayvon Thibodeau here, Thibodeau, I should say, and hope that I can get another really good offensive lineman later on.
Yeah, no, I like that 100%. Great fit for a team that needs some edge rushing help.
They do.
Came on with no why either.
They need both sides of the trenches, no doubt. So I really like that. I think he's one of the 5 best players in the draft, and they're picking 5, so it works. Something they need. I like it. All right, I'm going to have 3 more picks in a row here.
Let's do it, man.
Take
really
all my
guys off the board.
Yeah, that's right. You dominated the top 4. I'm going to dominate the 5 through 8 here. Carolina Panthers, I think from where they're at here, there's only 1 pick to be made and 1 pick only. And this is probably my easiest pick so far. It's Charles Cross. This is a bottom 2 offensive line in the league. And excellent.
The only
Super
thing I
big,
would,
athletic guy.
yeah,
What's
sorry, didn't mean to cut you
that?
off.
No problem.
No, man, I'm with you on that pick. That's a no-brainer. In real life, outside of this mock, I do wonder, considering where our board is at, or potentially where the real board would be at, if they don't just take a flyer on a Drake London or on a Derek Stingley. Granted that they have so much potential coming off injury history, and in any other year, those guys would be top 3 picks or top 5 picks. But to be at 6, it'll be interesting to see where they go. But I like that fit with Charles Cross there.
Yeah, I think they desperately need
They gotta have it.
reliable left tackle.
They gotta have it.
They have one good offensive lineman. It's the right tackle, Taylor Moton. They need help everywhere else, and Charles Cross is a great place to start.
Yep.
So New York Giants, again, in a really weird spot because I thought I'd be able to get, I guess I could have gotten Charles Cross, but I didn't expect Kayvon Thibodeau to be available. So I took him. Really still need offensive line help. So what do I do here now that Cross is taken? I'm going to go with a guy, people think it's Rich at 7, but he might be the best player in the draft. And if you can lock up this position for the next 12 years, you do it. Tyler Linderbaum.
I wrote that in before you even finished your sentence. I knew who you were going.
That's awesome.
And that's just a no-brainer.
It is. It is.
And to be honest with you, I even considered them at 3 with the Texans, just because it's such a – and like we talked about, center is the hardest position to fill. You have to draft well there, and you have to develop well there.
Yeah,
you got to get one of these combo guys coming out of high school that can play, swing tackle, either guard position, and maybe train him to be center, or you got to draft a center and draft him early. Saints did that a couple years ago with Cesar Ruiz. They ended up having the luxury to slot him over to guard. Well, hey, that's great. But if they didn't have that luxury, he'd be playing center right now. You have to draft a center if there's a standout one available, because you just don't find them.
Yeah, absolutely. And this guy is going to step in day one and be one of the better centers in the league, like Creed Humphrey was this year. And again, he's going to lock up the very interior of your offensive line for 12 years. Absolutely. He's a superstar.
Yep. I'm with you.
Nice. I like it. Okay, my 4th pick in a row, and then it'll be you, the Atlanta Falcons. There are a couple names that I'm really considering here. Their pass rush was pretty much non-existent here, but I can't help but get this idea out of my head where AJ Terrell, who was a stud this past year, cornerback, paired up with another one. I'm going to go Derek Stingley here and get a really awesome. I know he's a little more risky than some of the other corners here, but his upside is through the roof. And I think if he pans out, him and Terrell, man, oh my gosh, that is a pair of corners.
No, it is, man. It's kind of the same thing as God, who were we looking at earlier? I guess I didn't have anybody on there yet with an injury history. Oh, yeah, we were mentioning with the Panthers, potentially Stingley I mentioned, or London. London and Stingley, if they're healthy, guaranteed top 5. It's just that injury history, man. And good to see Stingley come off the board. If he hits, man, that's a nasty backfield.
It is, yeah. Well, it's back to the AFC, man. You got a couple in a row here. I'm very curious where to go here.
I'm going back and forth. The Broncos really are a quarterback away.
Yeah, they are.
They don't have a ton of needs. I don't hate their offensive line. I definitely at this point don't feel like reaching for Rayman, or as I call him, Rain Man, out of Central Michigan, Bernard. It's just such a position of they're in a spot where I feel like they can draft the best remaining player in the draft in that mind, and in that way, in my mind, and on the board. I think you just take the best player and don't think twice, and that's George Karlaftis at Purdue.
I would have made the
take that position of luxury. And if it comes down to it, I think they'll probably do that instead of reaching for Gardner. They can repay Bryce Callahan, and you take Karlaftis, and you got an instant contributor edge day one.
I love it. That's the pick I would have made too. The Jets.
All right, Jets.
Man, what are you going to do with the Jets? You gave Zach Wilson a tackle of the future. I can just, if he pans out and Mekhi Becton stays healthy, can you imagine those physical freaks on each side? Oh, man.
And I think you you could go Ahmad Gardner here, Sauce, and that would probably be the smart pick, but that's not the pick I'm going to do. I think you build around Zach Wilson and you give him the best wide receiver in the draft, Drake London, out of USC. You give this man some weapons here and a reliable pass catcher who he can work with.
That is the pick I was hoping you would make.
Yeah, no, Ahmad Gardner is a smart pick. They need help on defense too. It's an aging defense, but man, if you're going all out here with Wilson, man, you just got to commit. Like we've talked about 100 times with Trey Lance. If he don't pan out, that's Shanny and that's Shanny Lynch's jobs.
Yeah.
So if this don't pan out with Wilson, that whole front office is gone. Sal is gone. That's the end of it. You might as well go all in for it and just make it happen.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Help out Zach Wilson. I wouldn't have been mad at all if you took Ahmad Sauce Gardner, but I love the Drake London pick. I think he's a stud. He is a contested catch god. So, I mean, just throw it up to him, man.
He's awesome. And that's what you need with a gunslinger like Wilson. And in actuality, these are probably two of the more realistic picks we've seen so far, along with your Linderbaum pick at 7. And Cross at 6. These are 2 ones that, or 4 of those 4 I just mentioned, rather. Those are probably some that are going to happen, I would think, or at least that's what their front office would hope for going in that route.
I totally see it. All right, man, I got a couple in a row here, starting with the Washington newly named Commanders. This one is tough for me. There's a lot of routes to go. I thought about a second receiver next to Terry McLaurin, corner help, but I think I'm going to settle with getting a guy in the middle that can, I think, lead your defense, and I'm going to go Devin Lloyd, linebacker, Utah.
You son of a gun.
You wanted him soon?
I'd love me some Devin Lloyd, man.
Oh, yeah.
Love me some Devin Lloyd. People have been giving Nakobe Dean all this stuff. I mean, he's a great player. But Devin Lloyd's is a long-term guy. Nakobe Dean seems like a lot of fizzle, no substance. He really shined in the SEC championship and against Michigan, and then against Alabama in the national championship. They're 3 games. Yeah. So did Cardale Jones, but we see what happened with him.
Yeah.
So it just feels like he caught on late. Devin Lloyd's been a stud his entire career.
Yeah, I like Nakobe Dean. He is undersized too. But Devin Lloyd has the same kind of speed Nakobe Dean does, and I think he's
better
a lot
in
better.
Coverage.
I was about to say I think he's a lot better in coverage. So that's what gives
better
me
in coverage, better in run support. Yeah, he just knows where to be and fill the gap. Nakobe Dean's just so athletic,
instinctual.
Yeah,
Devin Lloyd.
Nakobe Dean seems like that kind of. Not to talk about this too much because he's gonna come off the board here in a minute, but. Almost kind of reminds me of that Micah Parsons build where Parsons was not and I'm going to get slandered for this, but he wasn't a great linebacker, I think, at Penn State. He just was put in a position to succeed by that Brent Pry Penn State defense. And those are awesome defenses. He just had to sit in one area and do his job. Yeah. Lloyd's kind of the guy that is your quarterback on the field for the defense. Dean's that kind of guy like, hey, this is your role, do it. You're an edge guy. Yeah, you're going to cover the slot. You're going to do one thing and do it well. Whereas Lloyd's just so versatile. So I love that pick.
Yeah, no, I like it a lot too. I think it fits well, and I think he's going to be a stud at the next level. The Minnesota Vikings. Two guys I'm considering here, but I'm going to settle on PFF's top remaining guy, and I'm going to go with my man Sauce, Ahmad Gardner, cornerback. And I'm not going to lie, I have the hardest time spelling Cincinnati. Is that correct?
I can never remember. CINNIT. Yeah, you spelled it right.
Yes, let's go. I'm honest.
Yeah, you would have got a spell correct on that if you didn't. You did good.
I like Ahmad Gardner a lot. I love this corner class in general, man. But I think he's going to be a stud at the next level, and he's got a lot of tenacity. I saw somebody tweet Ahmad Gardner plays every snap. Like if he allows a catch, his mother is going to be murdered.
Yeah, no, he some stat already has a lot of touchdown in like the last 72 snaps or something nuts. it's crazy.
I
Even in the
love
or even in the
Gardner.
playoffs against Alabama, dude, he didn't let anything on that side
No,
of the field.
nothing. Yeah, he's a stud. He's a stud. And I
He's a
like
stud.
Minnesota picking up that corner, especially since a lot of their secondary is getting up in age. They really need that guy.
Yeah, they need to rebuild that defense here before
Yeah,
they fall off a cliff. So I'm with
yeah,
you.
that's right.
All right,
Cleveland and
so we
Baltimore.
got the Brown. So we got the Browns here at 13. Again, it's a team that doesn't have a lot of holes. Again, kind of like the Broncos. I feel like they're only holes at quarterback, but they're not going to take a quarterback in my mind. I think in this instance, you take a position of luxury. And for me, the best guy left on the board that doesn't necessarily fill a void, but that would be a great fit in that Browns defense is Trent McDuffie, cornerback out of Washington.
Another corner that I absolutely love.
Again, a team that doesn't really have a lot of holes. You could have went to Kobe Dean. You could have got some more weapons. I'm just not super high on Garrett Wilson. And with Trent McDuffie there, he gives you a luxury just to, again, continue having a dominant defense.
Yeah, I
and
understand.
then here, sorry, go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
I was going to say Trent McDuffie, to me, I think he's easily the best zone corner in this draft. Another guy I would describe as very instinctual. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to pass a guy off from his zone to another extremely well. He plays like a 10-year veteran already. He's a stud.
He's good at man-to-man too and in press.
Mm-hmm.
He played a lot of press zone, so he's going to be a stud, man. It feels like to me, kind of like you and I talked about, Sauce Gardner, Ahmad, don't call me a lot. Gardner is probably the best man-to-man guy. McDuffie's the best zone guy. They're both awesome in press. They can both play either or. And then, with Derek Stingley, he's probably the highest upside and can do both really well. It just depends on his health.
Exactly.
So I'm with you. I would bank on Gardner and McDuffie having longer careers at this point. But of course, Stingley gives you such a high ceiling; it's hard to pass up on.
Exactly. I agree.
Here at 14, are we doing any hypothetical trades or just drafting off the board?
Yeah, we are. I actually meant to ask you about a trade towards the beginning, and I forgot.
Okay.
So I've been trying to think.
Yeah, sure. So you think about the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say their position of needs are? Their top 3 positions of need. What would you say? Regardless of who's on the board right now. Free agency draft, whatever. Who do they need?
I think that they could use interior offensive line to an extent, and defensive line, because another group where I think they're getting up in age, I think they could use an edge rusher. And then probably corner, even though they have good corners.
Sure.
Humphrey.
What about on offense? What about on the offensive side of the ball?
Like I say, I think interior offensive line would be the main one. I could see them wanting to get another receiver, but I don't think it's a desperate need because I like Rashad Bateman a lot. And Hollywood Brown took quite the step this year, and Mark Andrews also.
So here's where I'm at. I think you still need more weapons for Lamar, and you cannot blow his window. He's not an elite passer, but he's an elite runner. And you need to team him up with somebody who can do both. And I do agree with you. They could go David Ajabo here and be just fine. They could even reach for Kenyon Green, and I wouldn't hate it. Even going down to, Lord, what's the interior guy out of Georgia? Why am I blanking? Jordan Davis. That's a reach, but I wouldn't even hate that either. He's one of the better defensive tackles, if not the best in the draft. But this one seems like there's a certain superstar, borderline star, who's on the market now, and that man is Christian McCaffrey. And I like the Ravens unloading 14 to Carolina for the services of one Mr. Christian McCaffrey.
Okay, well,
we are now
GM
putting you back on the clock. Okay, you're the GM of the Panthers. So, you take this position. You take this proposition, the 14th overall pick.
Is it just 14 for McCaffrey?
Straight up for McCaffrey.
I'm going to do it. Let's do it. Heck yeah.
Let's do it, man.
I've even
gives the
thought about
Ravens
possible picks, but I like it.
gives the Ravens somebody who can start. Of course, you got injury issues, but they desperately need consistent running. There's no telling if J.K. Dobbins is going to come back the same guy. And even if he comes back a little bit, he's still more of a power guy. You get a guy who can line up in the slot, who can kind of take away from Hollywood Brown's drops and all that crap. And a consistent runner just immediately gives that read option, turns it to up the dial to 1,000.
Yeah.
So I love that fit. I don't know if they would actually give up 14. In reality, it's probably more like a second, the third, or maybe a second, the fourth.
Yeah.
But I do love that fit a ton. And
Yeah.
and as we talked about, they could use some revamping on defense in the trenches, but they don't need it right now. They just need to get healthy and stay healthy for a season.
Yeah. No, that's
Have
very
you got
true.
the chance to land one of the top, running backs in football who's they're trying to move on from right now? Do it.
Okay, well, now that I'm here, and I'm glad that this happened, this is awesome. Again, even despite taking Cross, I still think my biggest need is offensive line here. I like Charles Cross as my left tackle of the future. I like my right tackle, Taylor Moton. I'm going to continue to help that, and I'm going to take Kenyon Green, who I think is the best interior offensive lineman available, and I think he should be a little bit higher on this big board. I'm going to take Kenyon Green, the guard from Texas A&M.
Yeah, no, he's definitely. I hate when they count centers as interior offensive linemen because they're not. They're completely different. It's like calling a long snapper a tackle on the field goal unit. They're not the same position. They get treated differently. They get different priorities and calls and things, different liberties. So as far as interior offensive linemen go, true interior, it's him, and it's not even close. Like you start looking at the board, like we've talked about, and you got to go all the way down to PFS number 67, Dylan Parham out of Memphis, and he's a stud too. But you're talking that huge gap. The dude's a stud, and for a guard to be ranked in the top 32, you never see them get drafted in the first round or two unless they are legit. And Green is definitely that guy.
I like it, man. I like it a lot. I'm glad you proposed that.
No, I just like the fit from both ways. And like you said, I don't think that's going to save Matt Rule's job, but whoever gets it next is going to love it.
Yeah, definitely. Nice, man. I like it. Well, all right, man. It's time for the Eagles run. And with you getting 3 of the top 4 picks, I was okay with taking the NFC, partially because I really wanted this Eagles run. I just think it's awesome.
Yeah, sure.
3 of the next 5 picks for one team. And I'm going to start it out with the guy from Go Blue Nation. I'm going to go David Ajabo, man. The freak athlete, David Ajabo.
I love that and that fit.
Me too.
He's a guy who needs to be put in positions to succeed, but his athleticism, man, he's kind of reminds of Kwity Paye from last year, of course, a smaller version, but in that same build of just raw athleticism and power, and just needs to be coached up. And you see Kwity Paye on a Colts team that floundered there in the last game of the season. The dude was a stud on defense as a rookie. Started several games and is going to be a cornerstone there for them. And I see Ajabo the same way.
Yeah, definitely. He's a classic. Hand in the dirt, pin my ears back, just explode and go get the quarterback, man.
Yeah, and of course you don't like to see it, but he can cover a tight end in the pinch too. For an edge guy like that kind of conventional or that old school outside linebacker, Alvin Smith type, back before they started calling him edge. That's kind of Ajabo.
Yeah. All right, my next one was Philadelphia. I'm going to get some help. I don't know if it's going to be Jalen Hurts, but you have Dallas Goedert, you have Devontae Smith, who I love. I think you need one more guy because Jalen Reagor is not that guy. So I'm going to go with who I view as the best remaining pass catcher, Garrett Wilson, former Buckeye. Him and Devontae Smith as a pass catching duo. That's it.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I think that's the pick you got to make. It's just it's tough for me to see it just because of how much I've watched Garrett Wilson. He can go up and get it. He just has so many issues with catching the ball with his body. I really do worry about his future in the pros, just because you see Devontae Smith, even Chris Olave, Garrett's counterpart at TOSU, was more of a jump ball guy. When I say jump ball, he would high point it, go up and catch it with his hands. It always seemed like Garrett was just letting it come into his body. That's a big concern in the NFL. It's what leads to drops. It's Hollywood Brown's biggest problem. So I worry about it. But again, with that potential he has, immediately taking some pressure off Devontae Smith, I think you got to do it.
And I'm drafting him to be a 2, honestly, because I like Devontae Smith that much. Like,
yeah,
I'm pretty happy with this guy as a possible 2 going forward.
Yep, I'm with you. Give me just a second here. I'm getting caught up on your picks.
Checking out, gives me a minute to check out our remaining guys anyways.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at here. Man, it's tough. I was really thinking about going Garrett Wilson here, to be honest with you.
Oh, wow.
Not that you necessarily need it, but
yeah,
Keenan Allen getting older would be nice. Oh, man. There's probably a no-brainer that you have, but I'm not there with you.
I don't think there's a no-brainer. I don't.
I think, personally, I just don't like Jameson Williams, man. It's tough for me to take him eventually.
Neither.
Maybe he comes off the board. I'm actually higher on just Jahan Dotson over him. I know you're not.
No, I think I am, actually.
I just like Dotson. I don't think he's a guy at 17. So I think you go with the best remaining corner to me left in the draft, because in my mind, their 3 biggest needs are wide receiver and probably interior D-line. Jordan Davis is a reach here. I feel like Jahan Dotson's a reach here. So I'm going to go Andrew Booth, cornerback out of Clemson at 17.
I like it. That's one of the names I was definitely considering.
Yeah, if the Chargers are sitting there at 25, 26, I think maybe you go for Jordan Davis. Maybe you reach for Jahan Dotson, 2 guys that are going to fly off the board, 30 to 32, maybe early first round. But right there, I think you got to go the best guy left.
Okay. I'm trying to think here. Okay. Trying to make this work. So you are the owner of the Miami Dolphins.
Yes, I am. I'm Stephen Ross, who currently picks games.
That's right. And I am managing the New Orleans Saints here. Would you be interested in coming up to pick 18, since my reasoning being is Miami had the worst offensive line in the league? You could come up here and have your pick of Raymond Penning. I always forget how to pronounce Mr. Daniel Falele. Okay,
Lele.
Maybe even Zion Johnson, any of these guys. Would you want to come up to 18? I'll take your 29 and a 4th rounder, hypothetically.
Let's see. I've actually got the PFF mock running simultaneously, because I want to see what the compensations would be. I would give you – that's tough, because the Dolphins go 29, 47, 100, 117, 122, 156, 198. So basically, it's just backloaded, 4th and 5th round picks. That's a lot to give up for one guy. Let's do it, man. Let's go for it. Let's just have some fun.
Sweet.
I'll do it.
Yeah. Nice. Miami.
And now that I am up here at 18, I will take, in my mind, the 3rd highest upside tackle in this draft. It's not Charles Cross. It's Daniel Falele. With that build and that athleticism, he's got the upside. You're Miami. Let's go for it, man. Mike McDaniel there. RIP in peace. I think you just do it. Take the
Why
reach,
not?
man. If you're gonna do it, go up and get your guy.
You desperately
That's
need
why you
offensive
trade
line
up.
help.
You don't trade up because of the board and several players. You trade up because there's a guy you want. You're scared he's not going to last by then. And I don't think Falele is making it out of the first round with that athleticism. Too many GMs are going to fall in love with him.
I like it a lot. He's got a ridiculous frame. He's super athletic. Another guy that I think should be higher on PFF's big board. He's 39. I think he should definitely be higher than that.
Yeah, no, he's a first round talent. And just to look at him here, I don't know why this isn't working. I do want to pull up his build real quick.
Oh, no problem.
But
Yeah.
keep in mind that 29th pick came from San Francisco 49ers.
That's right. That's right.
All right, let's see here. I accidentally messed up. Good Lord. All right, now we're on the board as the Miami Dolphins. And Daniel Faalele comes in. Oh my God, are you really not going to? Here we go, 6'9", 380.
Oh,
He
my
finally got
God.
it. 6'9", 380. He's a 4-year senior, 4-year starter at Minnesota out of IMG Academy, originally from New Zealand. I remember I was so pissed, and here you go. He was an IMG guy, two-star. Alabama didn't offer but visited. Ohio State visited and didn't offer. He was a lock to go to Michigan, but they didn't offer. And they kind of kept him on the back burner. That was in Harbaugh's second class in 16 when you had these big studs like, oh my gosh, what's that? Alex Leatherwood. What was his counterpart? Jedrick Wills. Those were guys Michigan was in on. They didn't want to circle back to Faalele. They missed on both of those guys. They go to Alabama. They don't have room for Faalele. He goes to Minnesota and PJ Fleck's first year there, and the rest is history.
Wow.
Just a stud, man. Been following his recruitment for so long. To see him pan out, a dude that played rugby for the New Zealand All Blacks as a junior, and then switched to football as a teenager, went to IMG Academy in Florida, makes it to Minnesota, and here he is. Awesome to see this guy, man. 6'8", 6'9", 380. Good Lord.
That's unbelievable.
He can move. He can move.
That's unreal, man. All right, man. I got my Philly third pick. Took David Njoku. I took Garrett Wilson. I got an edge rusher. I got a weapon to go across from Devontae Smith. Here, I'm going to continue adding to the defensive side of the ball.
All right.
I'm going to take PFF's best remaining player, Nakobe Dean, to fill out the middle of that field.
I like it, man.
Thank you very much. Nakobe Dean, linebacker, Georgia. Filling it out.
All right. The Steelers are on the clock, and I think the need is evident. Mm-hmm. I don't think you waste this championship defense on Malik Willis. And although I'm high on Matt Corral, I don't even think you spend on him. I think you call up the GM of the San Francisco 49ers and you say, hey, do you want to trade Jimmy Garoppolo for the 20th overall pick, John Lynch?
Yes.
All right. Let's put the 49ers on the clock.
I love it. I love it.
Let's spell San Francisco. Yeah. I
know,
right? Spelled it right.
I'll never live that down.
And this is interesting because this is my worst case scenario for the 49ers.
I know, right?
And I'm curious to see where you go. I don't love Elam. I don't know if I love Raymond here. Definitely don't like Jamison Williams. Olave's not a need. Where do you go? This is the one in my mocks. When I traded up to 18 with New Orleans, 20 with Pittsburgh, 27 with Tampa, the top flight corners are gone. Where do you go?
Well, I am going to go with somebody that a month ago wasn't even considered a first-round pick, but he was the no doubt MVP of the Senior Bowl and impressed everybody. I'm going to go Jermaine Johnson, edge from Florida State, opposite side of Nick Bosa. Ooh. They need an edge. He's going to go top 25 now. He was that good. I'm gonna go Jermaine Johnson. Just tell me who do you have picked?
I would have went Drake Jackson or Arnold. I can't say his name. I'm usually good with these.
I know who you're talking
Ebiketie.
about. Yeah.
Ebiketie.
Well,
I
I
would have went
honestly
either one of
think
those over Jermaine.
I'm gonna go ahead and say Jermaine will be drafted for both of them.
He might be. Maybe it's the worry of God, who was the edge rusher we drafted right at the end of the Harbaugh era out of Florida State? It might have been in Jim Tomsula. What was that dude? We drafted the first round. It's a bust. You know what I'm talking about.
First round edge rusher?
I want to say it. No, I might not have been a first round edge rusher. We got to look this up here. Pause the draft.
Go for it.
San Francisco 49ers, Florida. Florida State. Defensive end.
Yeah, I can't remember this.
Good Lord. I'm having a hard time finding it. Tank Carradine.
Oh my gosh, Tank Carradine.
Tank Carradine, second round in 2013, 40th overall. Tank freaking Carradine. He's supposed to be the stud at the defensive end. It was at the end of the Harbaugh era. It was in 2013, and he was cut in 2017.
Good Lord.
At the end of Jim Tomsula. Maybe it's Tank Carradine-itis that I have. And, hey, Jermaine Johnson, I like him a lot. It just always scares me. Same thing with Malik Willis. It always scares me when a guy has a so-so year and then shines in the Senior Bowl. I thought Drake Jackson and Arnold, maybe Ketie's body of work was better this season. But I don't hate your pick. I'll say that much. I think you got to go edge rusher here, and any of the three would be fine. Yeah,
I understand. I will say before the Senior Bowl, he was considered to be like an early second rounder. And then he impressed everybody, and now he's talked about as a mid-first. So it's not like he just came out of completely nowhere, but I still understand not wanting to throw all your stock into a week of football.
And again,
he was really good.
It's a luxury.
Mm-hmm.
They do need an edge, but it's not a desperate need. This is still a championship defense. So if that's who we feel like has got the highest upside, we being Shannon Lynch, and you're in this position, I think you take Jermaine Johnson. If that's what you feel, if you want the instant impact guy, I think you would Drake Jackson, Arnold, Ebiketie. But I'll get his name right one of these times. But if you want the upside, go Jermaine Johnson, I guess.
Yeah, I feel you. If one of the top 4 corners were available, I would have taken one, which I view as Stingley, Gardner, McDuffie, and Booth.
But, I'm with you. Yeah. I think the gap between those guys and edge is pretty significant between the 3 edge we mentioned, those 4 corners.
Yeah, I feel you there. Yeah. Nice.
All right. New England Patriots on the board. I'm going to I hate that I love this guy because of where he played, but Chris Olave makes a lot of sense for them.
When you said I hate that I love this guy, I knew who it was.
I just hate Jameson Williams, man. And he came from Ohio State. He just seems like that Henry Ruggs guy. And Henry, before he crashed his car into a DUI checkpoint and killed people along the way, he was putting it together, I guess, but he was still a speedster. And Jameson Williams screams the same thing to me. Chris Olave is a dude. He's not going to give you anything in run blocking, and maybe Belichick will hate that. But he's a stud, man. Tore his ACL out of high school, came back and played his freshman year. Ran nuts all over us, ran nuts in the playoffs for 2 out of his 4 years. He's just a stud, man. I like him more than Garrett Wilson. I've said that 100 times. And I think as much as I hate Mac Jones, as much as I hate Olave, that's just it's a great fit, man.
It's 2 guys you can hate together.
Receiver. Yeah. I'm Belichick. You don't take Jameson Williams. Don't take Jahan Dotson or Traylon Burks. Take the guy or I guess I like Jahan Dotson. Don't take Traylon Burks or Jameson Williams. Give Mac some help like you didn't give Tom. Las Vegas Raiders also have a need at wide receiver. They also have a need at corner. I don't necessarily love this pick, but they just need help there. I do think there's a gap between 4 and 5 at corner. And I just, that's probably more of a need in my mind. The wide receiver, I think they can allocate more money. There's a lot of good wide receivers in the market this year. So I'm going to go Kyer Elam, cornerback out of Florida, to the Raiders.
Makes sense.
Easier to find quality wide receivers than it is cornerbacks who can really play. We saw that this year with the 49ers having to trot out freaking Dre Kirkpatrick and Josh Norman. You got to go young on that and spend your money elsewhere.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. All right, I got 2 picks in a row, starting with the Arizona Cardinals. I want to go. Let's see. I'm deciding between 2 guys. I think they need both these positions coming up. I'm going to settle on the idea of trying to replace Chandler Jones. So I am going to go Drake Jackson here.
I like that, man. I like that a lot.
Really good edge player.
Again, you know what you're going to get out of him. You know what you're going to get out of him. You know what you're going to get out of I'll call him AE. You know what you're going to get out of American Eagle. It's just an instant impact guy. You're not going to replace Chandler Jones, but you can at least mitigate it a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree. I also thought about corner, but I ended up settling on edge. I view that as a little bit more of a need.
Yeah, and I do think that gap between even the guy you mentioned, Jermaine Johnson, I think the gap between those 3 and the corners left on the board, well, more than only really one, it's just too much to pass up.
Yeah.
I will say this much, though, before you make a pick. I'm curious to see if you pick this guy, and if you do, forget everything I said. I think one of these teams is going to draft Kyler Gordon and just take a flyer on him, and I do not like his tape at all. Just a complete athleticism guy. Reminds me of the debate last year with the Georgia corners, which I'm blanking on their names. Help me out. Help a brother out.
Eric Stokes.
And Tyson Campbell. Eric Stokes was a speedster. That kind of reminds me of Kyler Gordon. And Tyson Campbell was Trent McDuffie. Of course, McDuffie's going to get drafted higher. But there's one who's a completely better one. And Kyler Gordon's just going to blow up here at the combine and going to blow up in interviews and stuff. And people are just going to fall in love with him. And I just don't see it. So just prefacing that.
Well, I was going to take a corner here, but not Kyler Gordon. I was going to take Roger McCreary here.
I like that pick.
I think he is a really good man coverage guy, press man guy. He'll be an instant help for Dallas, who needs help defensively. They were very reliant on turnovers, and you're not always going to have turnover luck.
No, you're not, man. And again, I just hope it doesn't happen. But Kyler Gordon's probably getting picked by one of these teams that needs some help, and McCreary is the better player in my mind. It's not even close. He's just a stud on the field. He'll get burned once or twice, but he's a dog, man. Just gets in your face and lets you know about it. Buffalo, again, a team they have no needs at wide receiver. No need whatsoever. I like their offensive line too. It's kind of a pick of luxury. I wouldn't hate going edge here. Also wouldn't hate going with probably the best player on the board to me, which is Raymond.
I tell you what,
2 guys.
This isn't even a suggestion. I won't even say who, but the guy I think is the best player left on the board, I don't think should go this late, and I'm surprised that he's still here. But I'll pick him eventually somewhere, so we'll get to him eventually. But I'm just throwing that out there.
The best player on the board?
Yeah.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
I'm not gonna say yes or no if you guess. So just saying.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, and I don't know. I'll be surprised. We'll have to review it after the draft is done if you don't pick him first. Position of luxury. Why not? Let's just give him another guy, which is probably up there. And I forgot he was still on the board. I probably actually have him higher over Raymond. I'm going to go Trevor Penning, offensive tackle out of Northern Iowa.
Dude is nasty.
Just a nasty maul. He's just a Buffalo guy, man.
No, I think that's a good fit.
Buffalo guy. And again, he's got time to sit behind those studs up in Buffalo. He's got time to get acclimated, and this was a good fit.
Yeah, no, I totally understand.
And when you got a championship quarterback in Josh Allen, you've got to do what the Seahawks didn't do, which is replenish the offensive line year after year. You can't pay all those guys, so you got to draft them. So might as well start now.
Yeah, I totally agree.
All right.
Okay. You know what? I think it's time. I'm going to do it. Tennessee offensively struggled in their playoff game. They need to give
All right.
A.J. Brown some help. Julio
Okay.
is getting older, and I'm going to take the guy that I think is to me, the best player left, Treylon Burks.
All right.
I actually have him as my number 3 receiver. Yeah.
All right.
I like him a lot. Really dynamic after the catch guy, really good contested catch guy. I think he's a do-it-all guy. I could see him being used close to how the 49ers use Debo too. Close. But
sure.
Yeah, I'm going Treylon.
Yeah. Yeah, and I do wonder about him. Believe he's like 6'3", 6'4". I will say this much. Bo Nix, the former Auburn quarterback who's transferred to Oregon, he was saying on a popular sports show here in Birmingham that he felt like, I think it was around rivalry week, actually. He felt like Treylon Burks was the best player in the SEC. Again, that's Bo Nix.
Dude.
But he felt like that was best player.
That was an AFC team. That wasn't my pick.
Team. Well, I'll tell you what, you talked me into it. I was going to give him a wide receiver anyway. No, I was going to give him a wide receiver anyway. And I didn't think it was as no-brainer as you said it was, but I was between him and Dotson anyway.
You want to do the Tampa pick?
No, man. It's all good. I was actually looking at Tampa anyway. I didn't even notice, so you're good. I tell you what, I'll do the Tampa pick. Why not?
All right, do it.
I'll do the Tampa pick for the heck of it. Take the best now that he's gone, and I think it's time, if you're going to reach into that bucket, I think you take the best player left in the draft right now, and that's Jordan Davis, and they need to restock that defensive line.
Nice.
Guy is going to be a stud.
He is. Hey, him next to Vita Vea, good lord, that's a lot of power.
Yeah, you're losing Sue this year. You're losing a lot on defense. You're losing a lot all over. So we'll start now. Like we said about with the Bills, a little bit different here, but just get the best guy left.
Let's see. Okay. These next two actually are mine. So
yeah, I know. No, it threw me for a loop, man, to be honest with you. Okay. I do like how we go you 2 in a row, me 2 in a row, and we finish.
I know,
right? I like that, man.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay. Green Bay. I am actually of the thinking that all this Aaron Rodgers stuff is going to end up being nothing, and he's going to still be in Green Bay. That's how I feel about it. And I'll say that they finally do what he's been asking them to do and take a first-round wideout. And I'll go with the one I view as the best available, and that's Jahan Dotson.
Yeah.
And right now, my New Orleans trade, me as the GM of New Orleans, I'm mad because all these receivers went right in front of me.
Yeah. And Michael Thomas is apparently on the trade block as well. So.
Yeah. But I'm going to make a relatively – you know what? No, I'm not. I'm going to swap it up. I think I do need weapons, but I'm going to take a shot here.
Okay.
I don't want to go in with Taysom Hill. So I am going to right here take the first quarterback, and for me, it'll be Matt Corral.
You son of a gun. You son of a gun, you dirty dog.
Where were you going to take him?
I was actually going to take Kansas City and do an interconference trade with Denver and take Matt Corral at Denver.
Wow.
Yeah. He sucks.
The pick before. Oh, my God.
Yeah. Like,
That's crazy.
Corral's going to be a beast, man. He doesn't even have to leave the Southeast. Plays in the dome.
That's true.
Yikes.
I would have taken
All right.
Dotson or Burks if they were available, but Jameson
Yeah.
Williams, man, I can't believe some people say that if he didn't get hurt, he would have been their top receiver.
Oh,
I just don't buy it at
it's
all.
that Henry Ruggs type.
Yeah.
With
injuries.
Let's pull this up. Let's pull this up for reference.
Sure.
I want you to rant about Jameson Williams real quick while I pull this up.
Yeah, no problem. Like
Just-
you say,
just-
I do
yeah.
view him as a Henry Ruggs type, where yeah, he's a speedster, but I don't see him as a wide receiver one in any class. And he has injury
Mhm.
issues. To me, if he was healthy, he would have been like fifth, sixth receiver for
Yeah.
me. And he has injury issues,
Yeah.
so now he's like sixth, seventh, eighth-ish to me.
So here's a couple of guys that Henry Ruggs was picked over.
Oh my God.
Jerry
yeah.
Jeudy,
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Rager, who doesn't suck but isn't great. So I'll give him that one. Justin Jefferson,
Yes.
Brandon Ayuk, T. Higgins, Michael Pittman Jr. Even heck, Laviska Shenault
Mhm.
has played more than Ruggs and been better. KJ Hamler, when healthy's been better. Chase Claypool has been better. Van Jefferson played in the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
I mean, and contributed. I think all those guys, maybe outside of Rager, are probably better than Ruggs and would have put up the same, if not better, numbers than him. And that's the same thing I see with it.
Yeah,
Again,
I
this draft
just-
isn't as deep as that, but a wide receiver. But man, you'd be an idiot to take him over Dotson, Olave, Wilson, Burks.
Yeah, I just don't see it. I don't get
Yeah.
it, but
Yikes.
a lot of people are really high.
Yeah, no, they are. So we'll go Kansas City here. They need help on defense, man, and they need probably the most versatile guy in the draft outside of Kyle Hamilton. Kind of sugar-free Kyle Hamilton. Daxton Hill, safety. He's listed as safety. He's probably going to end up playing slot corner in the NFL. But he can play that rover at free safety. He can block up the side of the field. And he can also come down in the slot. So kind of that Jabril Peppers-itis that he had coming out, kind of too versatile. Didn't do one thing great. Michigan just needed him to do so much, the same way they needed Peppers to be all over the field. He didn't show NFL teams that he was an elite safety, an elite corner, an elite nickel. He was just good at all of them. So good, not great. Kansas City needs a lot of help. You can put Daxton anywhere, depending on injuries and things and how they spend free agent money. And a young guy that's going to start for them. So I like that fit a ton.
I like that too.
In real life and in this draft.
Mm-hmm. I like that a lot, man.
Cincinnati Bengals, how this guy slipped this far, it's just worked out and it's fallen right into their lap. Give this man some help. Bernard Rayman, offensive tackle, Central Michigan. If they don't get Joe Burrow some help this year, good God. I saw Orlovsky talking about on the Pat McAfee show here yesterday. Yeah, yesterday was the last show for the next week, taking this week off. But they were saying if they don't draft 2 offensive linemen and sign 2 offensive linemen, they're doing Joe Burrow a disservice, which I thought was pretty funny. But it's true. They need some help, man.
Yeah.
They need some help.
I totally agree with that. I just realized I forgot Matt Corral. Okay. I got Lions one more time. Oh man. There's a guy that I see that I think is worthy of a first round pick, but hasn't been picked, but I don't need to pick him here, so I'm not going to. Oh man, there's so many different directions I could go here.
Yeah, and they really have a lot of holes. I'm not going to say the names. They have a lot of holes, but offensive line is not one of them.
I know, right? An offensive lineman is the guy that I want, but he just doesn't fit here.
No, he doesn't. In my mind, there was one name he didn't cross off. I was looking at Jahan Dotson. I was like, man, that's a good fit, but I forgot he's already gone.
Oh man,
yeah. No, dude, you're good. I had him on my list. Yeah, that would be a good fit. That's
would.
Pick, but yeah.
This is tough.
Yeah, and then with Dax Hill off the board too, it's tough. I think there's probably one direction I would go, but 2 players at that direction.
Really?
Yeah, I'm curious to see what you do with it.
The one guy that I think is super worthy of this pick, just they don't need it all. Okay. I am going to. I don't want to be boring though. Sweet Lord. Okay. I'm going to come up with 3 names. I'm going to assign them a number in my head, 1 through 3. You pick 1, 2, or 3. Okay.
All right. Just curious, what's the offensive lineman that you were thinking about?
Zion Johnson. I love
Really?
Zion Johnson. He's a guard, but man,
Yeah.
I think
I know
he's
who
a
he is.
stud.
No, he's
I
done. All
really
right,
like Zion Johnson a lot. Okay.
give me 3 names.
Okay. He'll be number 1. Be number 2. And okay. One of them's crazy. And I'm swapping the order since I just led you to believe that number 3 was crazy. Okay. All right, go.
All right. 2.
Jaquan Brisker, safety, Penn State.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the pick.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that was the best pick here.
Yeah. Who were your other ones? Just curious.
Kenny Pickett, just to throw in a quarterback. I didn't love it.
Yeah.
And
Was that your crazy one?
No, it wasn't a crazy
Okay.
one.
Okay.
The crazy one was the 6'4" speedster from North Dakota State, Christian Watson, who is not even on this list. Not in the
A
top
wide
75.
receiver?
Yeah, from North Dakota State. He was really good at the Senior Bowl also, and I actually like him a lot. If he's
Man.
available in the second round, I would love it for the 49ers, but he wasn't even on this list.
Yeah, I know who you're – well, I guess I didn't know who you're talking about. If they were going to go wide receiver here, I kind of like Khalil Shakir out of Boise State. He's a good fit too, but man, yeah, that's the fit. I'm not a big Lewis Sign guy.
Me neither.
Brisker is what everybody says Sign is, a hard hitter who plays in intellectual football. Sign's just 6'4", like 220. So this seems like a tweener, but Brisker, man, he's a hard hitter. He's going to get ejected from some games. It kind of reminds me of that kind of Dante Whitner, man. And that's the attitude the Lions need. They're trying to rebuild the culture there. Brisker's a locker room guy, man. He's a captain of Penn State. He's a hard hitter, man. He's going to be loved by Detroit. Even a better fit for them than I think you look at those 2 technically safeties with Dax Hill and Jaquan Brisker. Those are the best 2 spots for him. Chiefs needed a versatile guy. Lions need a locker room guy who's going to be a vocal leader and lead by example. Rebuilding this team with Dan Campbell. That's a Dan Campbell guy all the way. That is Run DMC right there, man. Motor City Dan Campbell right there.
It makes total sense. Yeah, I like the pick a lot. I was just throwing in, I guess, more valuable by standard positions. But
no, I love it, man.
And let me throw out, dude, I don't get the Malik Willis hype. Like all the concerns that we had about Josh Allen, all the concerns that we had about him, I think scream with Malik Willis. The horrible inaccuracy at times and just erratic play. But it's really rare that works out. And Josh Allen was 6'6", not 6'1". That's a big difference too. I just don't buy this whole Malik Willis has the Josh Allen ceiling crap. I don't buy it at all.
No, all it is you look at these generational quarterbacks and they weren't generational until they became generational. And then the next guy who remotely resembles them gets compared to him. Carson Strong was a mixture of Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, and Peyton Manning. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Jordan Love was a combination of Russell Wilson and probably Tom Brady or whatever. It's really stupid, man. I had to be politically correct there. it's just really stupid to do it. And not only is it not only is it unfair expectations placed on these quarterbacks that can make anybody crumble, it's not accurate. Now, I don't think Kenny Pickett will be a star. I know a lot of Detroit guys want him. There's a lot of Detroit fans that want Hutchinson at 2, and they want the Lions to trade up and use that draft capital from the Rams and get Pickett. I'm not super high on him. I think Corral's probably the only guy I drafted in the first round of this draft. But you just don't take Willis, man. I don't see that at all. I am glad to see the Desmond Ridder hype train die down a little bit because I didn't expect his demeanor during the playoffs getting blown out to Alabama. Just did not look like a leader on that team. Was just getting irritated with guys. Was not being encouraging. He goes up to his offensive line and tells them we got to be better. But yeah, they got to be better, but you don't do it like that, man. So glad to see that train die down. But yeah, I just don't see it with Malik Willis.
Mm-mm.
A lot of Detroit fans don't even care about Corral. They want Willis and Pickett. I don't see that at all.
I'm with you. I like Corral the best, and even to be honest, even Corral, I think if he was in last year's draft, the 6th, maybe even 7th quarterback taken, probably 6th, but
yeah, I probably have him over Mac Jones, but
as it's just coming out as a prospect.
yeah, I definitely have him over as far as from a between the years guy, versus Mac Jones mega brain. I think he would be clearly number 4 behind Lance Wilson and Sunshine, but T-Law. But I mean, I like him as a prospect. Like you said, I think in any other draft he wouldn't be the first quarterback. But he's just he's an instinctual quarterback and makes stuff happen. And I like that a lot. You can't teach that. People fall in love with the big arm and accuracy, between Pickett, between Willis, but they focus so much on that they forget what's between the ears. They forget what it takes to be in the locker room, and it is a big thing. I'll say this before we end. Talking about quarterbacks. Pickett opted out of the Peach Bowl against Michigan State when it was Pittsburgh's best season in years. He's supposed to be a hometown guy. Corral didn't. He's not from Mississippi. He's from Florida, but Lane Kiffin, Matt Corral was originally committed to USC, decommitted to Florida, decommitted, didn't know where he was going to go. A lot of big schools backed off him. He just wanted somewhere to go. And Lane Kiffin said, I want to make you my guy. And he's been there and started all 4 years under Kiffin. And he played in that freaking game. And he gets hurt doing it. That's with a lot of character, a lot of pride. And I'm not saying Pickett isn't that. But that's the kind of guy that teams fight for and rally around. And that's the kind of guy I would want in my locker room compared to Pickett, Willis, Ridder, who's cussing out his teammates kind of guy. And God forbid Carson Strong. Who, good Lord, if he gets drafted in the top 2 rounds.
Oh, man, yeah.
Be interesting.
Be a second round pick.
Yeah, but I think that's what I like about Corral the most is he lays it all out there on the line. He might not have the biggest arm. He might not be the most accurate, but he gets the job done. You can't teach that.
Yeah, no, I like that. That's why he's my top quarterback too. And again, the only guy that I would maybe take in the first round. And the Saints are just desperate for quarterback and wide receiver. I didn't see a great wide receiver option, so I went Corral.
No, for sure. There's a lot of quarterback needed teams out there. Taysom Hill's contract isn't hard to get out from under. Neither is Jameis Winston. So you got the opportunity to draft a young quarterback, build around Dennis Allen and this new look Saints team and roll from there. But I like it a lot, man. One quick thing before we wrap up. I am curious, is there any trades that you considered that you didn't make or any players that you were about to pick that I picked?
I was one that I planned on offering and for some reason just forgot. I was going to have my Panthers call up your Texans to see if I could jump up to 3 so I could have my pick of all the tackles. But I think sitting and waiting for Cross isn't bad either. So I was still fine with that. Let me think. I would, like I said, I did anticipate the Giants having one of, I like to call him Icky Ekwonu or Evan Neal. That was surprising to me. I didn't expect Kayvon Thibodeau to be there. And even though I needed offensive lineman, I just had to take Kayvon Thibodeau there.
Sure.
Let's see. Any else that you I actually didn't expect you to go Trent McDuffie for the Browns, and
Who'd you think I was going to go?
I thought you were going to pick a receiver. I did. I didn't know who necessarily, but I thought you were going to pick a receiver there, and I was going to take him with one of my first two Eagles picks. So that's one I guess you kind of stole. But I was fine with ending up with Ajabo, Wilson, and Booth. I mean, I'm Dean for them, but I would have liked to get a corner too. But yeah, so that's one that you took from me.
Yeah. No.
What about you?
Yeah, I think for me it was easily the Matt Corral one stands out the most. Matt Corral, you grabbing Dotson. I kind of liked him going to the Lions actually at 32, even though that was your pick. But I would have kind of liked to see that fit just for personal reasons. Looking at the board here,
I like that too, but I had to
for me.
Do what was best for the Packers first, you know.
Yeah, I know it. Let me look over it. There was one I'm missing. Let me see here. You got Devin Lloyd from me. I probably would have taken him to Cleveland if he was on the board. I probably would have taken the Gardner over McDuffie to Cleveland actually, but McDuffie just being a corner in a position of need. And then Ojabo at 15. That's what it was. I wanted Ojabo to the Chargers to pair up with Joey Bosa.
Nice. Yeah. That would have been good too.
Yeah, that's probably it. And just to reiterate, the reason why whoever's hung around with us this long, the reason why I took McDuffie at 13, that gap in my mind between London and the rest of those guys is just so big. I don't think, we've talked about Jameson Williams ad nauseum, talked about Gary Wilson ad nauseum. As much as I love to hate Chris Olave, as much as I'm, lukewarm on Treylon Burks and Jahan Dotson, like those guys a good bit, I just think the gap between Drake London and those guys is just too big to pass up. So if you never reach for a wide receiver, don't do it. You see Bill Belichick do it too many times. See all these teams do it too many times. First round wide receivers bust more than any position in the NFL. See what it feels like. First round quarterbacks and first round wide receivers. The bust rate is nuts.
It's crazy how that works, man.
Yep.
Trying to see if there's anything else that really stands out to me. I'll try to find some of my favorite picks.
Yeah, sure. Name your 3 favorite picks and I'll name mine. We'll wrap up.
Let's do each other's. Like I'll pick my 3 favorite of yours and vice versa.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay, sweet.
All right. Let's go mano a mano. You give me your 3rd favorite pick of mine, and I'll give you my 3rd favorite pick of yours. We'll work our way to number 1.
I really liked you taking Karlaftis for the Broncos. I think him and Bradley Chubb as just establishing that duo of pass rushers. I really like that one a lot.
Yeah, I liked the Drake Jackson, the Cardinals pick for all the reasons you said before. Trying to mitigate the loss of Chandler Jones. However long J.J. Watt holds on, we'll see. Just feels like that's just a great fit for a team that needs a defensive overall, slowly but surely.
Okay, I'm going to go to Andrew Booth to the Chargers. I think Booth is going to be a really, really good corner.
Yep.
It's a position of need for the Chargers. It's a position of need, and I think you might have grabbed the best player available too at that point. So I think it's a slam dunk in both of those categories. So Booth, Chargers.
Sure. And I will go here with number 2. Good Lord, I was just staring at it and I've lost it. Oh my Lord. Hold on a second. Couldn't remember who it was, but I was just staring at his name and I forgot about it. Yeah, okay. Here we go. I don't know how I forgot this guy. Matt Corral, the Saints. I hate to love it. I hate the Saints uniforms. I hate the Saints. But it's just a match made in heaven, man. It's a guy that's going to rally that team with a lot of turmoil, a lot of issues. He's going to be a guy that players want to play for.
See if I can find something. Okay. I'll go ahead and say my favorite one. And we're going to finish with the bias one, baby. Drake London to the Jets.
Sweet, and I'm
I
gonna
do
finish
think that's a superstar pick. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead. I want you to talk about Drake London. That's your boy.
Oh yeah, like I say, when you made the pick, I think he is. I described him. I heard it somewhere else, so I won't take credit. But as a contested catch god, where he's for real, just one of those throw it his way and he catches the ball. And people like to say he can't separate, but it doesn't look the same because he's 6'5", 220. So he's never going to look like Chris Olave running routes. It's not going to have that smooth, crazy separation look. But the way he makes separation is with his body, his arm length. He just catches everything, and he's really dangerous after the catch.
Mike Evans and T. Higgins separation looks a lot different than Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson.
Exactly.
Big body guys.
Exactly.
So my favorite, I'm not going to go with Aiden Hutchinson because that's just a no-brainer. If the Lions don't pick him, burn the place to the ground.
Yeah.
That's the Dan Campbell guy all the way. Even if he's not the best edge guy in the draft, for Detroit's sake, for Michigan's sake, for God's sake, draft him.
Yeah.
My favorite was Tyler Linderbaum.
I thought that might be your favorite.
To the Giants. He's probably up there with one of my favorite players in the draft. Up there with Hamilton and Hutch and Corral, probably my favorite. And man, I just love him. He's whether Daniel Jones is the quarterback of the future or not, which doesn't seem like it is. That's just a guy you build your offensive line around. It. Lord, they need help. So I love that fit. This is a humble guy who's not going to get bothered by the media, not going to get worked up into a frizzy. He's going to help that offensive line gel, and they need help.
Yeah, definitely so. Well, that was really fun, man. I like that a lot.
It was, man.
Yeah.
I enjoy that a lot. And we'll try to do, guys, as we're, going in the off season, we'll try to do some free agency stuff, obviously, we talked about. And hopefully here, as we get closer to draft time, we'll give you, maybe a more extended mock draft, go through a couple rounds and things, and have some fun with it as we, get through the combine. 49ers draft some free agency needs. We'll definitely do another mock for the draft it, and we'll be here to cover it with you.
And at some point, probably just a straight up 49ers 1-2. That's all of their.
Yes, exactly.
We'll do that. Exactly. Go into depth on each pick and why we're making all that stuff. But yeah, that was
exactly, man.
That was our mock draft. We had a lot of fun doing it, and me and Josh have done plenty of research on these guys already, and I'm really curious. I haven't finished all my positional rankings yet. I'm fighting still between Neil and Aquanu and stuff like that. So
I need to go back through mine and update them too.
Yeah, right. But that was really fun. That was one of my favorite episodes that we've done.
Yeah, right, mine too for sure.
Yeah. Well, before we get out of here, you want to provide that fact of the week for us, man?
Yeah, sure. So are you familiar with the Russian legend Rasputin? You familiar with Rasputin? You ever heard of Rasputin? Rasputin? You never heard of him? Well, then you're in for a treat. Grigory Rasputin was a famous holy man of Russia. This was during the right before the fall of the Russian royal family, and he had deep influence with the royal family. Other jealous nobles attempted to kill him multiple times. They got him drunk and laced his wine with cyanide, but it didn't even affect him at all. Then they shot him in the chest, but Rasputin lived. Then they shot him again in the chest. He lived. They shot him in the head, and he lived. And then they just left him to drown in the river. So when you talk about locker room guys that can really rally the troops, Aiden Hutchinson, Matt Corral, Tyler Linderbaum, Grigory Rasputin, man, this is where you go. Number one overall in my mind.
I can't tell you how much I appreciate that, because believe it or not, in 11th grade, my history teacher told us about this guy, and I haven't been able to remember his name since I was in 11th grade, which is a good while ago. Dude, that is amazing.
Rasputin, love the Russian queen.
Did he get stabbed in the stomach at one point too, or something crazy? Maybe I had that.
No.
Okay.
No, there's actually a song during the 80s. It's been famous on TikTok. It's called Rasputin. Rasputin is how they sing it in the song. But kind of, it's a famous 80s dance song, but it talks about it, that they put poison in his wine. And it was because all these guys were jealous, not only because of his influence, but because he was sleeping with all their wives and was like the most famous guy in all of Russia. They hated him. And he was supposed to be a holy man too, and with the Russian Orthodox Church and all these things. So there you go, man. But again, just a locker room guy who is not a quitter. Not a quitter. Shot 4 times and drugged to try to kill him. Didn't take no for an answer, man.
Never dies. That's amazing.
Hit that stone salt and kept kicking.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, all right, everybody. That was our mock draft. Me and Josh's. Me, NFC, Josh, AFC. Next week, we're going to have some guests to do another special event, we think, as long as they don't cancel on us like Luke 10.
New guests, hopefully.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. One new guest. So we're looking forward to that too. But until then, we thank you very much for listening. This has been the 49 Yard Dash Podcast. I'm Steven. That's Josh. And peace out, everybody.